Thank you. I have so many pages, so please get ready. If you have got a stone in your shoe, remove it, because I could take perhaps maybe 40 minutes to give my closing remarks. Are you ready? No. Okay. It is a time like this when you feel that perhaps the CSO Convention should have been 3 days. We've conceived this as a 2-day, but it has been 2 days of very productive conversations about the sector. Let me start from the point I mentioned yesterday, that as a world, as a country, we are living in a time of multiple problems, or a polycrisis. And because of the polycrisis, I would like to say, and the fact that I take the wisdom of one author called David Fleming in the book Surviving the Future. In one session, there was a recommendation of a read list. The theme of the convention is the future of civil society in Uganda. And so the book by David Fleming, Surviving the Future, is a good book to read. But there is one quotation from David Fleming which I found very instructive. That because we have multiple problems, we talk about funding constraints, we talk about shrinking civic space, we talk about so many. He says when you have large-scale problems do not necessarily need large-scale solutions. Large-scale problems, what they need are small-scale solutions, but within a large-scale framework. And so as civil society organizations, we're going to be addressing the large-scale problems, not with large-scale solutions, but in our different spaces, wherever we are, we're going to provide the small-scale solutions, but within a large-scale framework. And that way, we will be able to secure the future of civil society in Uganda, whether it's about the law, whether it's about the money, whether it's about the politics. In times of reduced funding, we've been called to scale up what works and not just our work. It is easy to scale up our work, but we're not going to be able to do that in times like this. I would like to invite you that we're going to be able to scale only what works so that we can actually be able to use the little volume of resources that we do have. In times of like this, of reduced funding, we know we've had conversations of what we need to do. The donor resources are decreasing. The bilateral donors are becoming more inward-looking. Our call for direct funding, our call for unrestricted funding, our call for multi-year funding is often perhaps not heard. And make no mistake, the material base of our work as civil society organizations is not going to be built on the scaffolding of donors. The material base of our work as civil society organizations is going to be built on local philanthropy. The quality of local philanthropy is quite high. Unfortunately, the quantity is small. But that's what we're going to have to be able to do. These have been 2 days of good conversation. There are things that we also need to take away and reflect on. What is in a name? When you meet a small child, like I was once a small child, and you asked me what's my name, I would not say my name is not David. I would say my name is Moses. We as a sector, in terms of our naming, we are none-this. When you find an organization, it describes itself as a non-government organization. It describes itself as non-political. It describes itself as non-partisan. It describes itself as non-profit. So we are non-everything. And because we are non-everything, anything is thrown at us and it sticks. There are all the negative narrative that will be pervaded and sticks. And that could be the pathology of our problem. We need perhaps to rethink about our identity. When we say we are non-profit, it is because they are looking and using commercial metrics on us. The private sector uses commercial metrics on us. The good news is that we are also making profit. We make social profit. When we have environment rejuvenated, we have livelihoods transformed, we have youth empowered, that is social profit. And so we need to not identify ourselves as non-profit. We need to hold our head high and consider ourselves as social profit organizations. So, these have really been 2 good days of conversation. Understanding the dichotomy between profit and non-profit, understanding what is in a name, and being able to see how we can live into the challenges that we do have. As civil society organizations, our survival is premised on us being value-driven. There's always the binary of value and values. The private sector will talk about value addition, value-driven, value-based, value systems. We as a sector, we need to be truly wedded to our value proposition. It's important that we are wedded to our value proposition. That's going to be what's going to enable us to work. A lot have definitely been said in these 2 days. Next year, I already told, I think, Elizabeth, that we'll be having conversations with GIZ to have more funding so that we can actually have this as even a longer conversation of 3 days. We are a dynamic, multi-layered sector with over 14,210 NGOs registered. Maybe the next CSO Convention will be in Nambole, and that will require funding. But with that, I still want to thank the people that have put in resources here. Special thanks go to GIZ for funding. And of course, the special thanks also go to the back-end donor of GIZ, the European Union delegation in Uganda. Special thanks to our partners for this, the NGO Bureau with whom we partnered. We take and remain acutely aware of the guidance that you have given as a sector, that we should not be in bed with the NGO Bureau. We will sleep on the same bed. We shall be separated with a line of pillows. Thank you to the CSOs that have made the time to be in these conversations, and to the different bilateral donors, development partners, who have actually been with us for the last 2 days. Sweden has been here, Denmark has been here, the Netherlands have been here, the British have also been here, despite the fact that they left the EU. We thank all of them for actually making the time and making the resources within which we run as civil society organizations. Thank you so much, the CSOs, for making the time. Special thanks, of course, to the Uganda National NGO Forum staff, who played quite a pivotal role in the content creation. Finally, as you could guess, I'm a fairly brilliant person, and I know which side of my bread is buttered. Because I want my contract extended, I would like to give special thanks to the board members of the Uganda National NGO Forum, who we have a few in the room. So the board members of Uganda National NGO Forum, please stand up for recognition. These are the few, the board chairperson was here, but these are the people that not only provide intellectual leadership at the Uganda National NGO Forum, but provide oversight. So when we thank the staff for the powerful content creation, it is all from them that we do execute as the staff of the Uganda National NGO Forum. With that, I would like to thank you, and it is my singular honor to welcome the country director of GIZ to come and speak to the people.